What's going on, guys? Craig 1287 here, bringing you computer construction. Hey, this is what I look like. Alright, let's move on. I've never done this before. This will be the first type of computer assembly type of deal, and I know there are plenty of other guides out there, so this is just for you guys that care to watch a guide. And behind the camera, we've got, you might hear his voice a few times, we've got, if he wants to introduce himself, Cat-like.
Howdy.
There we go. And also, as a nice surprise visit brought here by Cat. Oh, is he going to show himself? All right. Well, or we're just showing off the next room. But no, yeah, we got Black Mamba's going to be joining us. So those are two guys that you'll recognize the voices and play styles from all of our little crazy antic videos of Battlefield 3, soon to be Battlefield 4. So let's get straight to it. You guys have already seen the video and postings of all the hardware, and then the late edition.
What is going on, guys? Craig 1287 here, and as well, I just introduced myself. This is going to be the video showcasing the actual construction of my computer. And reason I started out talking live and now commentating over it is because it ended up being, pretty darn long, and I didn't want a video to be that long. So with me speeding it up like this, which is what a majority of the video is, it just made sense for me to commentate over it and tell you guys what's going on. So yeah, I showed you all the components there, and there we were just showing the inside of the case and the mounting brackets. The case was well, it was a goofy day. But the mounting brackets, I actually had to put those mounting brackets in there. Most of the computer cases I've gotten in the past have actually had those pre-installed, so that was just kind of an interesting thing there. But that is the CPU, that is the chip going in its brackets on the motherboard, and I'm currently right here putting the gel that is basically this helps the heat from the CPU transfer better to the actual heatsink that we're going to be putting on it. And you want to put just a little bit. You don't want to put too much that when you put it on there, it squeezes out the sides, but you do want enough to where when it goes on there that it's enough to cover the entire surface area of the CPU itself. And that right there is the heatsink, the copper and metal fins, in addition to the fan, and I took the fan off for the actual installation process. And here we're just mounting it on to the motherboard and putting the screws, tightening it down. And basically what it does is those copper tubes, it's going to absorb heat off the CPU, and that heat travels up those copper tubes into those metal fins there, and the fan, as it shoots, fast-moving, hopefully cool air through there, it cools off those metal fins, allowing them to absorb more heat off the copper tubes. So that's how the actual cooling process works for this. If you have a water cooling solution or your computer's submerged in oil, things like that, those are different methods. But for your standard, typical, heatsink and fan setup, that's how it's done. Now we've got the CPU heatsink and fan onto the motherboard, so we're now installing the motherboard. Some people install the motherboard and then put the heatsink and fan on there. That's pretty weird for me. I've never done that. I just imagine it being difficult. And there I was just screwing the 6 or 7 or so spots where the mounting brackets were on the case, so securing the actual MOBO. And here it is now secured. I I zip tied the cord for the fan, and now installing the 2 sticks of 8 gigabytes RAM. And it's up to your motherboard manufacturer as to how they like for those to be done, but those do need to go in specific locations there on the MOBO. And here I am installing the GTX 780 from EVGA, my video card. Very good card, and that's going right there in the PCIe slot, and then screwing it in there. The way the case did the securing for the GPU, very well done. I was thoroughly impressed. See, even gave it a thumbs up. Very impressed by that. And the way that the Mobo actually did a locking mechanism on the PCI Express, on the actual Express slot, was also very well done as well. Here I am just doing the cords for the fans and things like that, and you'll see they go out through the back. This is just all with cable management. Cable management is a very important thing for PCs. Obviously for visuals, it helps to show everything. But if you have a whole lot of cables blocking everything, it can cut down on airflow. Now with a case of this size, with a full tower case, it doesn't really matter. They're so big anyways. But if you have like a ITX or just a mid tower, you want to have good cable management to maximize the amount of airflow. And here I'm just continuing to do some of the cords for the actual case. This would be like the light that shows you that your computer's on, the on-off button, the reset button. It's got controls in there for the fans, that main fan you see there in the bottom right and the fan you see there at the very top. I can manually control the speed of those. So that's what all these cords are, and they're plugging directly onto the motherboard, and then you'll see pull them through. Again, cable management, always very good. Now moving on to the solid state drive and the hard drive, which will be just after this. And I actually do have a... we ran out of room on my memory card for when filming this, so it's just going to kind of have to cut to... I'll show you one of the final shots of my cable management. But see right here this is the hard drive. And after we did all this, we ran out of footage, or we ran out of memory on my phone, on my camera phone, but I did eventually put a optics drive, a DVD drive in, and I only use that for installing Windows, and that's it. After that, I take it out because physical media is just kind of not my thing anymore these days. And then there was only the one other thing, was the power supply unit that went in the bottom left of the case here, and from this direction to be the bottom right. And this is just kind of the rear after everything was installed. You'll see my cable management. I've got some zip ties and things like that. You always want to have your cables mounted here in the back because again, it just cuts down on the amount of room being taken up by all the cords on the actual inside. And you'll see there in the top right, that's the back side, that's the mounting aspect for the heatsink, and that's where the CPU goes on the back side of the Mobo to make sure that there's enough cooling going on. And then there in the bottom left, you'll see the solid state drive, the hard drive again, and then the space underneath those I just kind of used to stuff a lot of the excess wires that didn't go to anything. And then there in the top left, you'll see some little black slides. Those were where additional hard drives could go, or CD drives. But again, I am not using any of those. So I love this case. It's a great case so far. Really enjoying it. In terms of the hardware that I've got all going on in here, loving the hardware. It's been performing quite well for Battlefield and all other titles. And if you guys want more in depth, I mean, this is sped up quite a bit, and obviously some of the footage was missing from the actual build process. But there's plenty of other great tutorials out there to help you build. But this was not necessarily to really help you build. This is just, I know some of you guys that are my subscribers are console gamers. Some of you have only ordered a pre-built PC. So this is just to tell you or show you just a real general example of how and what all goes into the construction process. It can be very intimidating the very first time you do it. I learned at a very young age how to build PCs and things like that. It really only takes like 15 minutes is what it took me to do some research and finding out all the different components that go into the PC building process, what those components do, and how they go about being plugged into the power supply, and how they go about being plugged into the motherboard, things like that. It took me 15-20 minutes. So it can seem intimidating, but once you do it, you know, one time, if you have a friend that can take you through the process, or if you could just, you know, watch YouTube videos like this, you'll get a feel for it. And it's a very awesome process, especially once you turn it on. Nothing's dead on arrival. Everything works. Windows or whatever OS installs properly, and you go ahead and start to install your first game. And it's just it's a very rewarding thing when you see this beast that you've assembled yourself, and now it's working. So hope you guys have enjoyed this. I also hope you enjoyed seeing what I look like. It's always an interesting thing, is seeing what the people are, what they look like on YouTube. Seeing Rival X Factor for the first time, and Level Cap, and all those guys. So hope you enjoyed that. Might be doing some other vlogs in the future. Who knows? Just depends on what happens. But hope you guys have enjoyed the I was almost about to say gameplay. Hope you guys have enjoyed the PC build video there going on, and have enjoyed my commentary. Have a good one. Ta-ta.